Welcome to Tonetalks. Welcome to Tonetalks.
How's everybody doing today? This is Antonio Moore coming to you from Tonetalks. A few videos were brought to my attention done by a guy named Derrick Jaxn. I wanted to speak to that. My fans, my followers asked for me to speak to it, so I'm just going to go ahead and address it how I see it. So I listened to about 15 or 20 of these videos. They're like 2 or 3 minutes long. They're in a car. You know, I really try to give you guys some level of production value because that goes into like the thought process that goes into the video. You know, it's not enough to sit in the car with an iPhone. I believe everybody deserves a full camera, a studio, or you know, I do the radio show on Friday so you guys can call in so that you can get a full set of information and bounce that off of the host so you can actually see what they're talking about. My issue already is the production is just way too low for what he's trying to talk about. I believe that relationships deserve much more time than 3 minutes. There isn't much that you can accomplish in that time, but the issues go beyond that. For me, what I try to do is really look at information, data, empirical studies done by experts, and try to combine that to give you guys the best possible analysis that I can bring. In this case, it doesn't feel like any is being done. It feels like it's pretty much just based on ad hoc visuals on 5 friends or 10 friends or high school or college. That's not the way to approach like relationship or relationship analysis, because what you end up with is just you end up with a vacuous, limited kind of approach to how you discuss relating. So when I look at Derrick Jaxn's videos, for me, one of the problems is that what jumps out the page is a combination of racism and ignorance as to wealth in America and how that interacts with like black life and black relationship. For me, in many ways, I looked at about 20 videos, and when I started to dissect them and break them down for me to digest them, the problem was that there just wasn't enough there as far as expertise. So it just ended up being anecdotal kind of like feelings about stuff. I don't need somebody else's feelings. I need guidance when I look at these kind of videos. As I said before, 2 minutes isn't enough for me personally. You know, I look at 2 of his videos to give you guys examples of what I mean. I watched this video about speaking life into your woman, and what he says, just to be clear, is you can't tell me you don't know how to talk to your girl, because if somebody drops a beat within a 10-foot radius, you're going to start freestyling. If Rush Limbaugh said this to African Americans, we'd be up in arms. This is a racist statement. It stems from the same trope of the welfare queen that Reagan brought about. It stems from the same idea of the pound cake speech of Bill Cosby. The idea that black men are not talking to their women, but they can rap instead, and they're walking around rapping. I mean, where do you get this from? It don't matter that he looked like a black male, or it don't matter if you rap it in black empowerment. This is racist at its core. And he does this in a number of the videos, and it's highly problematic. Really damages the jewels that he might have in other videos that could be helpful, because it's such a trope, and it plays to many of the misunderstandings maybe our women have about our men altogether and race altogether. You know, you can be racist and black. You just can be racist towards blacks as a black person. And so now I move to the other thing, which is just ignorance about like the condition of wealth. You know, I did a study recently with Duke University. You can check that out, the 10 myths to close the racial wealth gap. Also, I did an article in Fortune magazine on that study. Please read that study, because many of the myths that I speak to with these economists, I did it with the leading intergenerational economists in the nation. And what he talks about, we refute in our study. So you got a guy that's talking about wealth that don't know about black wealth. He don't know about white wealth. And so what I find is that you get these weird things about him where he says stuff like, I read, there was one about the 5 signs that a man is wasting your time. Well, the 5th sign was, if he's on a date with you and he's dead broke, he's about to waste your time. If he's on a date with you and he's impoverished, he's already wasting his time. Fun dates are for those who have done their work. So this goes directly against one of our myths about hard work leading to more wealth. It's just like he doesn't understand wealth in America. And what I'll tell you right now is that as far as like people doing it, I deal with the best people doing it, from Thomas Shapiro to William Darity, and I write on this at a high level, and I'll just tell you there's nothing correct about anything that he's saying about wealth in any of the videos I watched. And that's a problem, because that's one of the core elements of his videos. And my thing to you is to just tell you that there's a better way out here. There's a better way to have relationships, and it doesn't have to be so adversarial as he's putting it in his videos. And so for me, I can't do nothing but just explain it to you using data. We start off with charts I've shown people who follow my channel. White America has 90% of the wealth. We control 2.6%. The bottom half of our race is worth less than $1. What you find is that working age families largely have no wealth and are working poor, or if not working class. Black families, the middle black family in America makes around $35,000, family of 4. What you find is that if you look at time, wealth is calcified. We're at a point where the bottom 90 doesn't have the wealth it had in 1980. Many of the lessons I feel that are in his videos, they're based at the peak of the chart I'm showing you right now, where the bottom 90 was taking home the 37% of the national wealth. We're at a point where the bottom 90 only is taking home 22%. Our race is in the bottom 10th of the bottom 90. The 0.1 has become super rich. What this leading to is that we don't have a lot of wealth to work with. Well, when you say when he's impoverished, you don't deal with the reality of the middle black family being worth $1,700 without depreciating assets. How do you say that, and how do you speak to relationships and not know the reality of the black condition? You can't. So all you can do is just speak to your grandmama's time or some other time. And that's the problem with the videos, is they don't really hold up against the reality of black America today. So in short, just coming to you guys, I believe that there are some informational pieces inside of the videos that could be helpful, but it's wrapped in so much like cloud of problems that for me, I wouldn't want to watch these and share these as ways to look at relationship. I believe that there are a lot better ways for us to interact and to engage. For me, myself, I believe churches all across this country, black churches, like West Angeles here in Los Angeles, you can go on their websites and you can actually pay for high-level psychological services and relationship services from experts that have PhDs in this. PhDs in relationships and psychotherapy and psychoanalysis and psychology. I myself paid, and it was $20 an hour at West Angeles for some relationship help some years ago. And what you find is that they could charge way more, but the church subsidizes it. I advise people to do that. The second option that I feel is if your church doesn't do it, maybe you need to look towards the internet. A friend of mine, Zoe Williams, is a great relationship expert. He worked with Dr. Berger. Dr. Berger is a psychotherapist out of UC Davis. Some 40 years ago, he got his degree, been studying for 30 years, and they did a CD together. Love Matters Revealed. I bought the CD and have listened to it twice. It's phenomenal in terms of relationships, interaction. It isn't undergirded with so much backbiting and adversarial talk and talking towards black men or black women. It is a statement about what relationship is supposed to be and how you get there. Just to share a couple points from the video, relationship is a highly reflective classroom where the feedback you get from your partner is your personal curriculum. The people you attract in a relationship are there to help you unpack and then reconcile the baggage you model from home. These are just a couple points from the CD Love Matters Revealed, done by Zoe Williams and Dr. Alan Berger. I want to share with you what I got and give you guys about 45 seconds to 60 seconds of the CD. We'll come back and end out.
Point out the fact that in many homes, right, there's this narrative of what doesn't work, you should get away from.
Yes.
So what happens is, conflict resolution skills are being formed or misformed depending on what's in the toolbox of that family. You see?
That's right.
So a lot of times, what's so crazy is, man, if you've come from a family who's used to contempt, okay, I don't want to deal with this, I'm gonna walk away from this. Well, that's the type of person you're dating and or marrying. They've never seen a problem through to fruition. They've never seen the full circle. And I always, kind of inform people, if you're going to be in a family, make sure that your kids see your mistakes, but also see the resolution to the mistakes, because now they have a full circle experience. Most families, we walk away from it. If it's an issue, if it's a problem, if it's uncomfortable, we walk away.
Which is so true. See, this is what I've seen in my 40 years of clinical practice. The number one way people deal with issues is to avoid them. Oh, and that's so unfortunate, because all that avoidance does is it exacerbates, it makes things worse, right? Exacerbates the problem.
Yeah.
But in our cultures, though, we are so afraid of pain, man. We like have a pain phobia.
Yeah. And again, a challenge is a ladder. I always tell people, challenge is the conduit to growth. Challenge is a ladder. Now, you can either climb the challenge and thus be elevated by the challenge, or you can submit to the challenge and then miss the lesson that the challenge represents.
Just really listen to what he just said to you. I mean, take a minute and visualize that.
Yeah.
That ladder. And it's so true, man, that you can go one or two ways on all this stuff. And that's one of the things we want to help people do. When you have trouble, we want you to unpack the lesson in it.
Yes.
Because there is a lesson in every single bit of trouble that's created in your life.
Yeah.
And as we're going to talk about when we get into the next section about growing together in love, that trouble doesn't mean something's wrong in a relationship. It really is pointing to your next step in your own personal growth.
It's amazing. You have to see pain as opportunity.
No, it's so true. And listen, you know, I'm a psychologist, so I study all this stuff about what is a healthy relationship. That is a characteristic of a healthy relationship. When pain happens, it's embraced. They don't run away from it.
Right.
They say, let's lean into this. Sometimes gently. I'm not saying you got to lean into it hard.
Don't rush in.
Don't rush in. But lean into it and don't run away from it. Because if you hold that tension and you really let that grow you, it's going to be amazing what you're going to be able to discover. It really is.
So yeah, this is Antonio Moore again. This is my view on the Derrick Jaxn video. Everybody's open to their opinions, of course. He has tons of views. I hope the brother does well, but I do think he needs to learn a lot about what's going on with wealth, and also he needs to tone down the racist tropes, in my view. This is Tone Talks. Please go to tonetalks.org to subscribe and donate. You can catch my show on Dash Radio, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Fridays. We'll be on this Friday. Look forward to hearing from you and getting your opinions in the comments below. Tone Talks brings to you the difference between black wealth and white wealth explained in less than 2 minutes. In America, we think that we understand race, wealth, and how the two intertwine. We believe in a sharing of wealth among the races that largely does not exist. The truth is, by the data, there are really hardly any blacks that are millionaires in the United States, and whites largely own almost all of the personal wealth in the country. According to demos.org, white America owns 90% of the national wealth, with the top 50% of white families holding 88% of all of America's personal wealth in their bank accounts. Despite having billionaire Oprah Winfrey, of the 14 million black families, less than a few 100,000 of these households are worth more than $1 million, and that number is shrinking. While at the same time, over 8.5 million white families are worth more than $1 million. Adding to this, almost all of the 540 American billionaires are white as well. In fact, according to a report by Credit Suisse, to be in the top 5% of black families, you only need to be worth $356,000, including your house. All while just the top few hundred white American families are worth more than all of black America combined. Subscribe to learn more at tonetalks.org.